Hey friends, welcome back to A Simple Truth. Now, the first thing you're undoubtedly noticing, I'm not wearing my hat. It is darker in the day because my wife and I spent the morning, big chunk of the day in the hospital because we've been in and out. We are expecting our first any day now. So lots of continued hospital time, I have no doubt. But where did we leave off? So we left off in Exodus. Exodus 35 was the last chapter we read. So 36 through 38 is where we're going to be today. And we're going to see a couple different things. We're going to look at, hey, we know they've left Sinai and we know they have the plans for a lot of this stuff. And we've even looked at almost exactly what the build is going to look like for some of the tabernacle and the ark and some of this stuff. Now we're actually going to look at the build of that. We know that we have great need for a lot of artisans and great need for a lot of materials. So we'll see what materials they've been provided or the Israelites provide to the artisans and what that execution actually looks like. So we're going to look at both of those. And there's a lot to build. So I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget. We're looking at the ark. We're looking at the tabernacle. We're looking at the tabernacle court. We're looking at tables, lampstands, the altar, so many different things that are laid out just in these few short chapters. And then we'll see what potentially application may look like for us. So again, 36 through 38. So chapter 36. And Bezalel and Eliahab and every gifted artisan in whom the Lord has put wisdom and understanding to know how to do all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary shall do according to all that the Lord has commanded. Then Moses called Bezalel and Eliahab and every gifted artisan in whom the heart of the Lord had put wisdom, everyone whose heart was stirred, to come and do the work. And they received from Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of making the sanctuary. So they continued bringing to him freewill offerings every morning. Then all the craftsmen who were doing all the work of the sanctuary came, each from the work he was doing, and they spoke to Moses, saying, "The people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which the Lord has commanded us to do." So Moses gave a commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout camp, saying, "Let neither man nor woman do any more work for the offering of the sanctuary." And the people were restrained from bringing, for the material they had was sufficient for the work to be done. Indeed, too much. Then all the gifted artisans among them who worked on the tabernacle made 10 curtains of woven fine linen, and of blue, purple, and scarlet thread. With artistic designs of cherubim they made them. The length of each curtain was 28 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. And the curtains were all the same size. And he coupled 5 curtains to one another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled to one another. He made loops of blue yarn on the edge of the curtain, on the shelf edge of one set. Likewise, he did on the outer edge of the other curtain of the second set. 50 loops he made on one curtain, and 50 loops he made on the edge of the curtain on the end of the second set. The loops held one curtain to one another. And he made 50 clasps of gold, and coupled the curtains to one another with the clasps, that it might be one tabernacle. He made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle, and made 11 curtains. The length of each curtain was 30 cubits, and the width of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains were the same size. He coupled 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves, and he made 50 loops on the edge of the curtain, that is, in the outermost in one set. And 50 loops he made on the edge of the curtain of the second set. He also made 50 bronze clasps to couple the tent together, that it might be one. And then he made covering for the tent of ram skins dyed red, and a covering of badger skins above that. For the tabernacle, he made the boards of acacia wood, standing upright, and the length of each board was 10 cubits, and the width of each board 1.5 cubits. Each board had 2 tenons for binding one another. Thus he made for all the boards of the tabernacle, and he made the boards of the tabernacle 20 boards for the south side. 40 sockets of silver he made to go under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under each of the boards for its 2 tenons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, the north side, he made 20 boards, and their 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under each of the boards. For the west side of the tabernacle, he made 6 boards. He also made 2 boards for the 2 back corners of the tabernacle, and they were coupled together at the bottom and coupled together at the top by 1 ring. Thus he made them for the 2 corners. So there were 8 boards and their sockets, 16 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under each of the boards. And he made the bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards of one side of the tabernacle, 5 bars for the boards on the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the side of the tabernacle on the far side westward. And he made the middle bar to pass through the boards from one end to the other. He overlaid the boards with gold and made their rings of gold to be holders for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And he made a veil of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and fine woven linen. It was worked with an artistic design of cherubim. And he made for it 4 pillars of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. With their hooks of gold he cast 4 sockets of silver for them. He also made a screen for the tabernacle door, of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and fine woven linen made by a weaver. And its 5 pillars with their hooks, he overlaid the capitals and their rings with gold, but their 5 sockets were bronze. Chapter 37. Then Bezalel made an ark of acacia wood. 2.5 cubits was its length, 1.5 cubits its width, and 1.5 cubits its height. He overlaid it with pure gold, inside and outside, and made a molding of gold all around it. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold to be set in its 4 corners, 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the other side of it. He made poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold, and he put poles into the rings at the sides of the ark to bear the ark. He also made the mercy seat of pure gold. 2.5 cubits was its length, and 1.5 cubits its width. He made 2 cherubim of beaten gold. He made them at one piece at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 1 cherubim at one end on this side, and the other cherubim at the other side, at the other end of that side. He made the cherubim at the 2 ends of one piece with the mercy seat. The cherubim spread out their wings above and covered the mercy seat with their wings. They faced one another. The faces of the cherubim were towards the mercy seat. He made the table of the acacia wood 2 cubits was its length. 1 cubit was its width, and 1.5 cubits its height. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made it a molding of gold all around it. And he made a frame of a handbreadth all around it. And he made a molding of gold for the frame all around it. And he cast for it 4 rings of gold, and put on the rings the 4 corners that were its 4 legs. And the rings were close to the frame as holders for the poles to bear the table. And he made the poles of acacia wood to bear the table, and overlaid them with gold. He made pure gold utensils, which were on the table, its dishes, its cups, its bowls, and its pitchers for pouring. He also made the lampstand of pure gold. Of hammered work he made the lampstand. Its shaft, its branches, its bowls, its ornamental knobs, and its flowers were of the same piece. And 6 branches came out of its sides, 3 branches of the lampstand out of one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of the other side. There were 3 bowls made, all with almond blossoms on one branch, with an ornamental knob and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almond blossoms on the other branch, with an ornamental knob and a flower. And so the 6 branches coming out of the lampstand. And on the lampstand itself were 4 bowls made like almond blossoms. Each was an ornamental knob and a flower. There was a knob under the first 2 branches of the same, a knob under the second 2 branches of the same, and a knob under the third 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches extending from it. Their knobs and their branches were all of one piece, and it was one hammered piece of pure gold. And he made its 7 lamps, its wick trimmers, and its trays of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold he made it, with all its utensils. He made the incense altar of acacia wood. Its length was 1 cubit, and its width was 1 cubit. It was square, and 2 cubits was its height. Its horns were of one piece with it, and he overlaid it with pure gold, its top, its sides, all around, and its horns. He also made for it a molding of gold all around it. He made 2 rings of gold for it under its molding, by its 2 corners on both sides, as holders for the poles with which to bear it. And he made the poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. He also made the holy anointing oil, and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the perfumer. Chapter 38. He made the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood. 5 cubits was its length, and 5 cubits was its width. It was square, and its height was 3 cubits. He made its horns on 4 corners. The horns were each of one piece with it, and he overlaid it with bronze. He made all of the utensils of the altar, the pans, the shovels, the basins, the forks, and all the fire pans, and all of its utensils he made of bronze. And he made a grate full of bronze network for the altar, under its rim, midway from the bottom. He cast 4 rings for the 4 corners of bronze grating as holders for the poles, and he made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. Then he put the poles into the rings on its sides of the altar with which to bear it, and he made the altar hollow with boards. He made the laver of bronze and its base of bronze from the bronze mirrors of the serving women who assembled at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then he made the court on the south side. The hangings of the court were of fine woven linen, 100 cubits long. There were 20 pillars for each of them, with 20 bronze sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. On the north side, the hangings were 100 cubits long, with 20 pillars and their 20 bronze sockets. The hooks of the pillars of their bands were silver. And on the west side, there were hangings of 50 cubits with 10 pillars and their 10 sockets. The hooks of the pillars and their bands were silver. For the cast side of the hangings were 50 cubits. For the east side of the hangings were 50 cubits. The hangings of one side of the gate were 15 cubits long, with their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets, and on the same for the other side of the court gate. On this side there were hangings of 15 cubits, with their 3 pillars and their 3 sockets. All the hangings of the court all around were of fine woven linen. The sockets for the pillars were bronze, the hooks for the pillars and their bands were silver, an overlay of their capital was silver, and all the pillars of the court had bands of silver. The screen for the gate of the court was woven of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and of fine woven linen. The length was 20 cubits, and the height, along with its width, was 5 cubits, corresponding to the hanging of the court. And there were 4 pillars with their 4 sockets of bronze, their hooks were silver, and the overlay of their capitals and their bands was silver. All the pegs of the tabernacle and of the court all around were bronze. This is the inventory of the tabernacle of testimony, which was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son of Aaron the priest. Belzeel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord had commanded Moses, and with him was Ahiliohab, the son of Elishama, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a designer, a weaver of blue, purple, and scarlet thread, and of fine linen. All of the gold that was used in the work of the holy place, that is, the gold of the offering, was 29 talents and 730 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver from one of those were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents and 1,775 shekels, according to the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for each man, that is, half a shekel according to the shekel of the sanctuary, for everyone, including in the number from 20 years old and above, for 603,550 men. And from 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary and the bases of the veil. 100 sockets from 100 talents, 1 talent for each socket. Then, from 1,775 shekels, he made hooks for the pillars, overlaid their capitals, and made bands for them. The offering of bronze was 70 talents and 2,400 shekels. And with it, he made the sockets for the door of the tabernacle meeting, the bronze altar, the bronze grating for it, and all the utensils for the altar, the sockets of the court all around, the bases of the court, all the pegs for the tabernacle, and all the pegs for the court all around. So it is coming together. We are seeing a lot and a great picture of what God has intended for his people to build this incredible sanctuary with incredibly ornate detail. And that, of course, got me thinking about my life and the detail that God has for it, and for my soon-to-be daughter and what plans God has for her. And I think it should go without saying that God has absolutely beautiful plans for her, just as he has beautiful plans for my wife and I. But I don't think that those plans, even though they're beautiful, are always going to be easy to execute. I think God has a incredibly beautiful plan, and it's up to me to adhere to that, or very often I mess that up, and yet God is gracious and good. So I think that's just something to take away. And for these next couple days might be a little crazy. I might be filming these at night, so you may be seeing more of me hatless, so you can actually see my face. But as always, thank you so much for joining, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later.